Yeah, it's weird how so many things in life are a paradox. To get in shape, you can't just sit there and eat garbage. You have to work out, sweat, get out there and do stuff. And it just strikes me that it's weird that a lot of the world's set up like that.
Yeah, and it's this environment that we now find ourselves in, the environment of comfort and convenience, it just doesn't work well for this hunter-gatherer genome. And that's really the major crux of the problem, is this mismatch. And what we know is that by not moving very much and by eating crappy foods and by having our sleep disturbed, we're actually destroying our metabolism. And that's why we're seeing huge increases in both physical and mental health issues. And it all basically comes down to metabolism gone awry. And I always say to people that if you are physically inactive and you eat a lot of ultra-processed foods and you're not sleeping well, you are playing Russian roulette with your physical and mental health. It's as simple as...
I mean, I don't know if you have pets, but, I observe from my pets, my dogs and cats and all that, they want to be outside every day, at least for a little while. They eat, they sleep, they play, they repeat, they have this cycle, but they crave natural things. Like, it was weird. We have potted plants and one of the plants died and we just have like the pot with the dirt in it. And one of my cats always goes and lays in it. He curls around the pot. He wants to feel the dirt on himself. And I thought it was like, it's so funny, but it's really interesting. He's trying to do something that's healthy for him. It's really cool and interesting to me.
Yeah. And that whole thing about being in nature, so there's so much research that being in nature is good for your mental well-being. But we also know now from recent research that if you go for a walk in a forest or along a beach, the microbiome from the forest and from the ocean actually gets into your body and starts to colonize inside, and we get more of a diversity in our gut microbiome. When we live in cities all the time and we're not interacting with nature, our microbiome becomes more narrow. And then when we have a crappy diet, what happens is we introduce these species into our microbiome that are really not good for us. And we're now seeing the type and diversity of the gut microbiome has a huge impact on our physical and mental health. So yeah, that stuff about getting outside, spending time in nature, and also getting sunlight. Sunlight does amazing things in the body. It's not just the vitamin D that we get from sunlight. And it actually shouldn't be called a vitamin. It should be called a steroid hormone. And it influences more than 300 genes. And this whole lifestyle of living more and more indoors is really bad for us on so many different levels.
Yeah. So what are some of the issues that you explore in Death by Comfort? Do you give advice for people on how to overcome this without making themselves horrifically uncomfortable? Like, what's your protocol?
Yeah, so I'm certainly not suggesting, Richard, that we all go and become hunter-gatherers again, because that's really not practical. It's about getting the best bang for your buck. So in the book, I go through a whole heap of stuff around exercise and how to get the best bang for your buck on exercise. And it's basically a bit of a combination of low-intensity exercise, steady state, what we used to call cardio, at relatively low intensities, just getting out of breath a tiny little bit. And that's actually good for your metabolism, and it really helps your body to process energy and increase the amount and density of your mitochondria. So the mitochondria are like the batteries or the powerhouses of your cells, and they basically run your metabolism. So there's a bit of that, and then I encourage people to do high intensity interval training. So intervals of about 4 minutes. There's a brilliant evidence-based protocol called the Norwegian 4x4 protocol, where you basically go very hard for 4 minutes, then you recover for 3 minutes, and you do 4 rounds of that. So that's about a 25-minute workout.